When pastors were asked about me and whether or not I was a good fit for a ministry job, those are some of the reasons that women don't report what happens to them in the church. They want to get the reference for their next job. I reported pastors to HR. I'm kind of hoping they won't abuse their power and then take it out on me by getting involved in my next job. But that's what happened. So pastors are calling each other up and talking about women who they identify as troublemakers, trying to keep them out of the ministry arena, and it usually works. Probably shouldn't be telling you that, but it does. How is that misogynistic? Well, no one's ever asked me what my experience was like working for these guys, these pastors. Like at the very least, a pastor who got a bad recommendation about me could have been like, hey, what's your side of the story? But the fact that all it takes is a guy calling up another guy, and then as soon as it's just said, it is true just because he said it, and that's the misogyny. Your experience isn't valid because of who you are as a woman. The only thing that seems to matter is their perspective and how they view it. So for me, that's the misogyny, is that all it takes is a guy to call up another guy, a pastor calling a pastor and saying, we didn't have a good experience with Jordan. Meanwhile, they're not mentioning, oh, well, she made a report to HR and one of our most favorite pastors was taken to task basically by her. I was called a ball buster at one point because I wanted to be treated right. At the end of the day, some very delicate egos didn't get stroked in the way that they're used to. They were angry. So in order to retaliate, which is, by the way, illegal, it's illegal for a boss to call up a future boss. You can't do that. And retaliation is also illegal when someone has made a case and a complaint to an HR rep at an organization. So yeah, I've noticed that Christians don't really follow the laws. They just think that they are exempt. Misogyny is just, all it takes is a guy calling a guy, and whatever he says is taken as gospel. No pun intended. But I was never asked, Jordan, what was your experience working with these guys? Or, hey, an interesting report, landed at our feet regarding you. We thought it was very interesting considering, we haven't seen that kind of issue with you ourselves. So it's like they just forgot about all the time they spent with me as soon as they got a phone call. That's really not what's happening here. They just want the money and power that comes with pleasing these guys that made the phone call. At the end of the day, a good pastor would be like, I'm in a position of power. I'm aware they're not asking her, what her experience is like working with these guys. So I'm not going to abuse that power. I'm going to realize what this might be like from her perspective. I got an interesting report about her. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her what her experience was like. I'm going to ask her what was it like for you at Redeemer? What was it like for you at these guys? Instead of just assuming whatever you hear is true. And then I would have told them, what happened. What ended up happening instead was, Jordan, we're not promoting you because we got a call about you from Redeemer. Some people said that you hurt their feelings and you talk with them quite harshly. And it was like, was it one of the people that I took to report abuse to HR? And then their eyes got really wide there, and the guy that was saying this to me, a pastor, my boss, goes, what? And I was like, did it really not dawn on you that there was something that happened that led to this complaint about me? Do you really think that this, whatever they say when they speak, is just true? That's a lot of giving people the benefit of the doubt, but notice me, none. So the pastor's given all the credit and all the benefit, and the woman who has no power is guilty as charged. Not innocent before proven guilty, but just guilty. I am just guilty because I do exist as a woman. And when I realized that that was going on, yeah, I'm out of ministry. It's a rigged game. And technically speaking, I can't work with that. I don't think any woman should have to work with that. The state of New York doesn't think that you have to work with that. And in addition, I don't think God thinks you should have to work with that. It's not love. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to this beautiful evening, walking my adorable dog. And just food for thought. That's misogyny for shizzle. Up the wazoo. That's got misogyny written all over it. And it's time for that kind of stuff to stop.